we could start. We got to keep it. We got to keep it on brand. So it's gonna be 3, 2, 1. Ryusei go.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess we'll just go ahead and kind of go into it, just because we don't really have like a.
We don't have really an established format for this.
Yeah.
This is obviously the first episode.
Yeah. We haven't even come up with a name yet, but.
Oh God, we still haven't. I still
yeah,
like 09th podcast team.
Oh yeah, we could do something like that. I have a note in here about talking about the name. Where is it? I said bit about the name, actually discuss, and I remember I was gonna make a joke about how the name Char Chat would be bad because it sounds like Car Cat, like the Homestar
Oh
character,
no.
and we need to stay as far away from that as possible. But then adjacent to that, I thought of the Asnable Roundtable, which kind of has like
that's not bad.
What's it? Cellar Door, kind of like that.
Yeah.
But that might be like a good.
Could be a good topic.
Maybe like a good either topic or like episode title, in case like we have more people on here, have like the Asnable Roundtable. I also liked War in the Podcast.
War in the Podcast is pretty good,
but I feel like that would be like also a good name for if we did like an episode about War in the Pocket.
Oh yeah.
So
well,
I guess hello and welcome. This is our attempt to not take over an entire episode of the Xcast by talking about Gundam, which we know we could. We could probably take up a couple episodes.
There's a lot to talk about with Gundam. I mean, it's a series that spanned like 40-some years now, I think.
Started in like late 70s?
I thought 80s? 89, maybe.
Hold on. Suit
Here we are doing a Gundam podcast, and we don't even know when it started.
Oh yeah, it's 79. That's why.
Oh, 79. I thought it was 89.
Yeah,
okay.
That's why. I thought it was in the 70s, but yeah, it's 79.
So yeah, it's over 40 years.
It's that's this decade's gonna be 50.
That's crazy to think about.
Yeah, I should also know that because I would order Gunpla and it would come with like it's the 40th anniversary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we're on like 42.
Yeah. We should probably introduce ourselves.
Yeah. For those that don't listen to the Xcast, I'm Mao
and I'm Mezz, pilot captain of the 7 stars.
Like we said, trying not to take up a whole episode of our general podcast.
Yeah, because there's a lot to talk about with Gundam. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that Church and Spencer don't really want to sit.
I can already tell you, Church would just be like, "What are you talking about?"
Tuned out.
He would be.
While we're talking about how different each Zaku is from each other.
To be fair, the Zaku development line is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I did see. Have you seen the Zaku Mariner before?
I don't think I have. Let me Google that real quick.
I might throw up a picture because like the thing that I have is it's going to have like a screen in the back, and I might use that to throw like visual gags up.
Yeah.
I saw the Zaku Mariner, and I immediately thought of
wow.
one of those memes where it's like when your free trial ends, so you make another account, and it would just be like different Zakus.
Hey, I mean, it reminds me of like a submarine. Kind of. I like how angular it is.
Yeah, it's super neat, and then like I think it's in Unicorn, like in the original it looks kind of goofy, and then Unicorn actually kind of looks like
Unicorn.
Like
I've seen Unicorn, most of it, not all of it, but there's a point where they're just bringing back all these old mobile suits from like the 1 Year War, and they're fucking kicking ass. Like they look really good.
Like you compare the Gelgoog, which has a silly name.
Gelgoog.
You look at the Gelgoog in like any of the old UC stuff, and it's like, that's kind of neat. And then you see it in Unicorn, and it's like, wow, that looks badass.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, whatever that yellow one is that has like the elephant trunk.
It's not the Zagak.
No, the Zagak is my
Zagak is great
with the claw arms.
I love the Zagak. It just looks so silly, but I love it. Let me real quick look up Unicorn. Mobile suits.
It's based on the Act guy. I know that. I don't like how the Act guy looks, but that's just
it's okay. I looked up Unicorn Mobile, and it's giving me baby mobiles. Suits. There we go.
but after you look that
Uh,
up, we could probably start on like how we got into the series.
I
'Cause
mean, we
that's
could
like
kind
one
of
of
talk about that for like a little bit. So
yeah.
really for me, I one day I was just scrolling through YouTube and I found this YouTube video that was just like complete noob builds Gunpla, and it was this like really well edited video of this guy like rhythmically like cutting out all of his pieces and like sanding them down and like putting them together, and it was really really nice. And I was like, well, shit, I always thought these like Gundam models were like really really complicated and like took a lot of detail. This doesn't seem that bad. And I started looking up more stuff and I was like, well, shit, I could probably do that feasibly. But then I was also like, well, if I'm gonna make a Gunpla kit, I want to make it a cool robot, but I also want to make sure it's something I've seen. So one day I just sat down and watched Iron Blooded Orphans for the first time and fell in love.
Hmm. Yep.
And your introduction was
So one thing I do want to say is that I, I I forget what we're talking about, but you mentioned like a while ago you thought that Gunpla was really complicated, and I thought it was funny. But so it's like a half shout out, half origin. I knew about what Gundam was, but I didn't know too much about it. Um, and then I started watching this streamer, Red Muffler Man. We're gonna say friend of the show because he's a buddy of mine. He streams, and when they were coming out with the public beta for Mobile Suit Gundam Extreme versus Maxi Boost On,
which has got to be one of the worst
which
titles for a video game.
it
Tied with Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. Wait, 358
yeah,
days over 2. That's how you pronounce it.
yeah, yeah. So he's streaming the beta for Mbon, and I'm seeing this, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of neat. I wonder if that was like in the back of my head, and I'm talking with Spencer, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to get into Gundam. Like, quarantine sucks. I actually went back and found the DMs. It was in August. I was like, quarantine sucks. I want to get into something. Why not Gundam? And Spencer was gonna get into it with me. So I messaged Senbun Sakura, who used to go to ISU before you started going, because I knew that he was into Gunpla, and I asked him where I should start. I said, I looked at the list of what was on Hulu, and I said, should I start with Wing? And he said, Wing is not really a great starting point. You should either go with Double O. If you like new suits, you should go IBO, G Gundam for older suits, and then or the Build series. So I don't know if we started on the 18th of August or if that's or on the
I know we
17th, or if
both
start...
started pretty soon after each other.
I looked at it, so I messaged Sen on the 17th of August. I don't know if we started that night or if we started the next day. The literal next day, you said, "Hey, I started watching IBO." So potentially a day apart, like completely like unplanned, just like, oh, I'm gonna start watching Double O, and then you're like, I'm gonna start watching IBO.
Yo, all right. Well, I just found one of my new favorite mobile suits. The Guerra Zulu. Holy fuck. This thing's like if you took a Zaku and merged it with like Wolfenstein troops. Giara?
Send me a picture.
I'll send the link to the wiki article since I got it up.
Send me the link and I'll put it up on the
You'll
screen.
pull it up. Hey, look at that motherfucker. Oh my god.
Yeah, that is a sick boy.
Dude, it's so cool. Because I'm still trying to find the one that we were talking about. I think I've gone through like almost every.
I'm telling you right now, if I go to Unicorn right now.
Oh, it's Zem. All right, it's Remnants. It's the Remnants that I need to be looking out. Not it's not the Capule or Capule. No.
No, it is the. I think it's the Zhuagu.
I do like the Capule.
Yeah, it's the Zhuagu.
Zhuagu?
Yeah,
Zhuagu or
yeah.
Zhuagu? Oh yeah, that thing fucks. That looks so cool.
I don't like it as much, but I can definitely.
It's
got
just
like a unique design.
it's so cool. Gundam is just so fun.
So let me.
I do think my favorite series that I've seen has got to be Thunderbolt, just because it's like the perfect like bite-sized 1-year war story. At least the first part is.
Yeah, no, Thunderbolt, especially December Sky, fucks.
Oh my
That
god, it is so good. I've shown it to people who like aren't super into Gundam, and they're like, "Oh my god, all right, I need to watch more." Like it
I
is
I feel,
converted people.
I feel like when we showed it to Spencer, he's kind of like, oh, I wanted to get into it, but he doesn't want to like commit to it. So we're like, oh, just watch Thunderbolt with us, and he's like, oh, that's kind of neat.
I mean, it's just such a good like. The music is amazing in it. Like, oh my god, it's just so good. The
Yeah,
mobile
it's
suits
great.
are fantastic. I mean, the Psycho Zaku has got to be probably one of the best Zaku's they've ever made.
The animation is
Like,
also really
oh, the
good.
animation is spectacular. Like, oh my god. Ugh.
Yeah,
I
I would like to do like since like the initial idea was like, oh, here's how our journey through the Gundam franchise, especially during quarantine, where like as far as I know, all that's out there newly is like Re-Rise, like Build Divers Re-Rise,
I think they're really focusing on build divers as of late.
and then model kits are kind of getting a little scarce in some
Yeah,
regards, and
unfortunately.
then I think and then Hathaway Slash is coming out this year, so
Oh,
it's kind
that's
of like
right, right.
yeah, it's been delayed for a couple years now, so it's very interesting to like be able to be in there, like be in the fandom and be able to like be like, oh, this looks sick.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's really interesting. I mean, I will be excited when they eventually come out with the third part to the Thunderbolt franchise.
Yeah,
Just because I was left kind of disappointed by that second film.
I still
Um,
have not seen Bandit Flower.
I don't go into it expecting a complete story.
Do they
It,
kind of like set it up for it like a eventual thing?
yeah, like how December Sky was like super like you could stop watching and just be like, okay, you know what, that was cool, and walk away feeling satisfied. Bandit Flower tries to set up a lot of stuff that December Sky should have if they were really going for a trilogy. And it's unfortunate because December Sky was really, really strong. It's hard
It's
to
got the
kind.
Atlas Gundam though.
It does have the Atlas Gundam, which fucks. Unfortunately, you only get to see it in like 2 fights.
Dang.
Yeah, it's tragic, but I do think the soundtrack is a little better in the second one. But that's the Atlas Gundam, despite being amazing, it's not my favorite mobile suit. That belongs to Iron Blooded Orphans Grimgard, which is just I love the design, love the color, love the weaponry. I don't know what it is about close combat mobile suits that just like always like or they just got really good designs.
It's also
And
got like the things that kind of look like rabbit ears.
oh yeah,
So
that too. That definitely helps.
it fits right into
It really
your
does.
brand.
Um because like I really wanted it to be one of the first kits that I've built, but I have yet to get a kit of it because I want to get a 1/100 version. Unfortunately, the 1/100 versions of IBO kits are insanely expensive because they haven't made any since like I think 2016, maybe earlier.
Yeah,
So there's a limited amount of kits. I think I got a Bale 1/100 for like almost $100. Like it was ridiculous, and like I wouldn't mind paying that for like a master or like a real grade. Like if it was really really like well done, like I could justify doing that.
yeah.
But for a 1/100, I'm like, I'm not gonna pay that much, especially for the amount of detail work I put into Gunpla kits. I don't know about you, but like I panel line a little bit. I don't go overboard and I don't scrib. I don't do a lot of this extra detail work. I just kind of do the bare minimum.
I would honestly say I even do less than you. Like,
Really?
I've done like one thing of panel lining, and it wasn't even all that intensive. Other than that, I've not done any panel lining. I try to get my nubs like at least cut down.
Right.
I don't do like the sanding or anything, but I have built a ton of kits.
I think you've built
since
more than me because I've only
I've
built I think 7. I think I've only built 7 because it was Barbatos Vidar, Gushon Rebake Full City, Levitain, Bale 1/100, and then God, what Seltsam,
yeah.
and Lupus Rex.
Yeah. So looking at my spreadsheet because I'm too
Oh
lazy
yeah,
to get
that's
up
right.
to get up and count.
You have the
Not
spreadsheet.
not counting the two that have not come in because I have a Pale Rider that is on back.
Oh, that's right. You ordered that like a month ago.
Like a month ago or 2 months ago. I forget when the Pale Rider Cavalry
Yeah,
went,
I remember
but
you ordered
it's
that
not
like
even it's
instantly.
yeah they're well because like someone was like, oh well, here's this like the premium Bandai things went up, you should look at it, or like they were
Hmm.
like, anyone want to look at these, and I'm like, oh, that looks kind of neat, and it's pretty affordable, and I know that a lot of people like praise the P Bandai kits, so I'm like, I'll just get that, even though it was one of the ones that they're like, yeah, it's not, you're definitely not going to get it till July.
Ooh.
So not counting that one, and not counting the glow in the dark RX-78 that I won from the Gundam
Oh, that's
Info giveaway.
right. Yeah.
I have 25
Damn.
kits, and
I'm
that's
impressed.
yeah. They are very fun. Me and my girlfriend really like to build them together. It's just like a fun hobby, like a fun activity we get to do together.
It really is. For me, it reminds me of like building Bionicles and Legos as a kid. I used to love building Bionicles, and like Gunpla kind of gives me the same feeling, but with a lot more detail and a bit more, I guess. I, so with Bionicles, you didn't really display them; you played with them. Gunpla is like the opposite, where if you're playing with it, you're probably gonna wear out the joints, and then they're not gonna want to stand anymore.
Yeah.
Um,
I sadly did not get into Bionicle.
oh, that's so tragic.
That's like one of those things where like seeing how nostalgic people are for it, I wish that I had. But
I
I
definitely
never did.
feel that Bionicle's popularity kind of helped like bridge the gap between like America and Gunpla, because Bionicles were basically like easy to digest Gunpla, if I could be as reductionist as possible. It was Lego's version of Gundam models, and but I again a little more like buildable, practical, and really easy to get into. That's not saying Gunpla is difficult. I think anyone with basic reading ability and you know basic physical capability could go out, buy a high grade, and make it, and not make it look terrible.
Yeah, and even now they've got new like entry
They've get
grade
entry
ones.
grade kits, which are what, like $5?
I forget. I saw one at Barnes. It might have been a little higher just because LOL
Yeah,
Barnes markup. But yeah,
right.
it's like it's crazy
It's
easy.
crazy easy and crazy like cheap to get.
Yeah. No, I think it's super cool, and like um I wasn't sure how hard they were going to be because I think I've heard people like describe like the really intricate kits as being difficult,
Right.
but like I I got my first kit like early, I guess it was like middle of last year, and I built it and I thought it was pretty great, and
I built mine. Right.
basically hooked ever since.
Cuz wait, what your first kit was?
Mine was the Gundam Zabanya from the
Oh, that's
the
right.
Double O movie because I
You
wanted
wanted the
Dynamis,
yeah, Dynamez.
which is like the season one lock on Stratos,
Right, which it's so
but
weird to me, if I can tangent just a little bit. It's so weird to me that like the movie, they're like, "Hey, here's these mobile suits, but slightly redesigned." Also, they're not the exact same mobile suits, but they look similar.
that's, I guess that's also kind of how they do season two. It's just like, well, here's your new suit. It's like, oh, that's cool, but it's like one of those things where it's like, oh well, I guess you could kind of see it as kind of like a power progression. Is like,
Or like an upgrade where it's
yeah,
like the
but like
Barbatos to Barbatos Lupus kind of
I
thing.
I honestly think aside from in the Double O movie, aside from the Double O Quanta, because that actually has like a plot reason to be in a like there, all of the other suits are just like, well, we can't just give Setsuna a new mobile suit. We need to
That wouldn't be
do that. But
fair.
that wouldn't be fair. Proceeds to have like 8 different variants of the Exia because why not?
Okay, that was that's something I never quite got because I haven't seen Double O yet. I would love to, but just haven't. Um, the fucking Exia has like 8 different modes that I've seen in Gunpla form, and I'm like, what the fuck?
There's in the actual show there's Exia, and then there's like a variant where it's like damaged called like or like I think there's like Exia repair. I don't know how different that
Exia,
is.
yeah, and then
I thought
isn't there
Exia
like the
repair,
Quanta?
the Double O Quanta is the movie upgraded version of the Double O
Okay,
Gundam, which the Double O Gundam is an upgraded version of the O Gundam, which is something that they don't really touch on as much in the actual show. I think there's compilation movies kind of like Gurren Lagann, and
right, right.
I like looked at a list of like the differences, and I'm like, oh, this seems like something that would be really fun to like watch after I've seen Double O. but also I don't think I would have wanted that to be my first exposure to it.
I don't blame you.
But a lot of the extra Exia forms are from like they would have like a very brief like side story in like a magazine, and they would be like, "Hey, you're a mech designer from like a different series. Design a robot for us."
Oh, okay. So they're
So
kind of
like
doing that.
you've got like I think there's the Avalanche Exia, which is like what if Exia was built for like air combat? So it's like a jet,
Oh,
which is just kind of neat. But
I mean, yeah, it's always interesting to get kind of like different versions. I mean, it kind of makes
that's
me
why
laugh.
that's why I really like the build kits, like the
Oh
ones where
yeah,
they're like, well, here's the new Gundam, but it looks like it's from Xeon. Here's the Gundam Mark III, but it's got a big claw hand. It's like,
right.
oh,
That's something I think like if I watched more like Universal Century Gundam, I would appreciate the build series a lot more, or at least more just like kind of classic Gundam. Because a lot of my experience with Gundam is a bit more new, whereas I really think the oldest show that I've watched was War in the Pocket, but we will probably discuss that in a later episode,
yeah,
since we both have very, very good things to say about it.
yeah. No, I loved War in the Pocket. I'm sad that like I was really tired and didn't get to finish watching it with you and the rest of Stake server.
Oh yeah. Well, that
But
was
when I
so
went back,
funny. It was so funny though.
we
Like
accidentally watched episode
we
5.
watched episode 5 and then I'm like, "Oh, this is a little they're giving us a lot of backstory and kind of just expecting us to roll with it. That's odd." And then we get to the end of the episode and then
It's like
it's like next time
episode
on
6.
yeah, and we're like, "Whoa, whoa, what happened here?" That was was quite the experience.
It was an adventure. Also, it had uh,
It
David
had
Hayter
David
in it,
Hayter, yeah.
which was
David
great.
Hayter has a an extended history with big robots.
Yes, he does. I did have something we talked about Gunpla. I never got to answer the question.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, no. So, I've been thinking about which series is my favorite, and it's really close between Double O and Turn A, but I'm gonna give the edge to Turn A because it's just so different.
Isn't Turn A canonically where every Gundam timeline like converges?
Where most of them converge. Yes.
Yeah, I guess not every, but like most of them,
Yeah.
which I think is
It's
very
kind of like
funny.
it's a very like big plot point later on, but it does have ties to. Well, you kind of like early on. I want to say it's like even before you get like 10 episodes in, you're like, huh. Those look like an awful lot like Zaku. That's kind of interesting. Oh, but they're calling him Borjanon. Okay, whatever you want, bud. And then like, oh, there's a gun cannon. It's like, huh? And
Huh.
then they kind of like they explain it, and it's like that's kind of interesting, which is kind of like a mixed thing. But since I've finished it, I'm like I really like this, and then I find a lot of people that say that it's their favorite series, and I agree because just like the characters are great, the music's amazing, the ending made me feel things. It's just a great ride, and I loved it. I love Double O. I'm glad that I started with it, but I definitely like Turn A little bit more. And as for my favorite mobile suit, it would probably have to be the Cublay.
That's fair. That's fair. That was what your first master grade?
It was my first master grade. It was my third kit overall.
As I smack my microphone, I just realized there's a Walter Gundam. What?
Huh.
What is this thing? Oh,
Sometimes. Oh, here we go. Oh,
yeah.
I see it.
He. Oh, he has a. What the hell is this? Standing mode? Oh my god! What? What is
that's
this?
that
What
doesn't
is
that
this?
that is in fact a Mobile Fighter G Gundam suit, which means that it is a wild ride just looking at it.
I will admit that I think in terms of like just general like my favorite mobile suits consistently for a series has to be G Gundam because they're all just so they're all just so great.
They're like, oh, the Burning Gundam, or I forget if the Burning Gundam is the
I think
default or not.
it's God Gundam. We'll just call it God
Oh.
Gundam.
Yeah, well, it's like that, and the base version of it is like, oh, those are neat. Oh, the Master Gundam, that's neat. And then Noble Gundam.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Nobel Gundam.
Sailor Moon. Uh-huh.
That's a little.
And then you get to the
And you get
granddaddy
to
of them all, Tequila Gundam.
you get Tequila Gundam, or my personal favorite, Nether Gundam.
It's
Nether
so
Gundam.
good.
Oh, I forgot Scud Gundam. Oh, I forgot about Scud Gundam.
Isn't Scud the name of the dog from Toy Story?
I don't know.
I just watched that
Ferrari
the other
Gundam.
night. There's so Vodka Gundam.
I wish. I want it to be real so bad. No, I was looking.
Mermaid Gundam.
I was looking. I was like, oh hey, maybe there's like a Zaku equivalent in G Gundam. Don't know why there would be, but I was like, hey, maybe. Oh, there's a dog Gundam. I forgot, aka Inu Gundam.
Well, there's like a wolf Gundam from Seed.
Oh, that's right.
It's really cool. It's called the Legao, and there's like a couple different variants of that.
Yeah, that's the one thing you don't really get with like Iron Blooded Orphans. Is a lot of their mobile suits are kind of like based in more upright standard designs. Like a lot of their mobile suits you can see like the frames underneath, whereas like traditionally a lot of Gundams are very fully armored and very rarely are showing any actual like frame underneath. You get a lot of that with IBO kits.
I feel like that really works out well with the fact that IBO is less like beam and projectile.
Oh, it has no beam. It has like, I think there's only one mobile suit, technically mobile weapon, that actually uses a beam weapon. Everything else is actual kinetic weaponry.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't know, it makes it more like armor that someone would wear as opposed to just like, here's this robot.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna have its armor to reflect all the beams it's gonna get shot at it.
I think it also helps that like Gundams in Iron Blooded Orphans are like relics of an ancient time. Like I think by the time the events of IBO come around, like the Gundam frames that exist within there are like hundreds of years old at that time. And it just kind of helps like show that, you got these fancy new like grazes running around the battlefield. You got the Shidens. You got all these like new mobile suits. And then you got these really antiquated Gundams, but they're kicking ass because, they're still fucking amazing.
Yeah. It's really cool to see like how each series will be like, okay, well here's our Gundam, here's what makes it different, and then here's our mobile suits, here's why they're different, and
right.
It's just really cool to see like a series that's been going on for over 40 years now. And
still have like unique interpretations of like its main draw, like even Unicorn Gundam, like that thing. And this kind of ties back to something that I wanted to bring up, but like the amount of Unicorn Gundam kits I've seen is like insane, where it's like it has like 8 different real grades of like different modes. It's like, oh, destroy mode, oh, seeking mode, oh, regular mode, oh, unicorn mode. And I'm like, okay, how many modes do you have? And I've made it through most of the series, and I haven't seen like all of this. I don't know if it gets crazy in the last episode.
Either that, or there's just like a bunch of like the side stories and stuff.
Well, I know there's another side story to Unicorn with like the Phoenix Gundam, I think, or something. There's some like gold Phoenix, and I remember everyone actually was complaining about that model kit because it wasn't actually like molded gold; it was just painted gold. So when you clipped it out, of its runners, you just had this really nasty black spot. Because, you can't paint where a runner connects. Yeah.
I mean, you'd snip it and then you'd paint it.
Yeah.
That's what we did with my gold sumo kit.
Oh, that's right.
For Christmas, my girlfriend got me a gold sumo kit because they haven't done any since '99. So this is the oldest kit I have. Is older than my youngest brother.
God.
And it was kind of like this... I don't know how to describe it other than like a golden curry brown. Like it wasn't
right.
Like,
yeah, you showed pictures.
Yeah, so what I did was I had a gold metallic marker, so I went over all of the gold pieces with that, and it turned out really well.
That's awesome. Like I don't think I've been like dissatisfied with a build yet, but you've also done like more than 3 times the amount of builds I have.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up. The only kit that I would say that I've been dissatisfied with as of now was the Master Grade Age 2 Magnum. Like that kit, it individual pieces like, oh, I'm going to build the arms, I'm going to build the chest. Oh, these work fine. It's like trying to put it together was some of
just
the most
hell.
I honestly wanted to take it and throw it at the wall. Like it made me
Ooh.
that upset. But like it looks so cool, like like the dark purple and like the teal blade things on the wings, and
Oh yeah.
it looks great. And then I think about how much time it took to get it in, like how it is. I'm just like, I don't want to think about it anymore.
I guess the most like dissatisfying build that I had was probably Lupus Rex. And that was just because of like how many stickers there were and how many IBO kits I had already built. Cuz basically all but 2 kits that I've built have been from IBO, and unfortunately they all start kind of building the same.
Yeah.
Cuz they all have inner frames, which is unique for high grades. And unfortunately, like the inner frame assembly is basically the same for each one. It makes it really easy for like kit bashing, but it makes it really boring when, you've built 5 of them and, you're on your 5th. So, but I mean, it's still a good kit. I like, I still really enjoy the Iron-Blooded Orphans line, and I think I'm very glad that I started with them, because I've built more traditional kits. Like we've both built the Seltsam, which is from, I think, what is it, Re-Rise?
Yeah, so that's a way newer kit.
Yeah, it's a way newer kit. I guess I kind of want to ask you, like, my Seltsam's knee joints feel like really loose. I don't know if there was just something that happened when I was building it, like I accidentally like shoved a piece too far in and it got loose.
Let me grab mine. Okay, just grab them without knocking over heavy arms or my Anya.
That's the worst part, is like getting all your Gundams into like place and then you're like, I want to repose one.
So like you're saying like the knee bend, or like
the knee bend, like there's just a little too much give for me.
Mine's fine.
Then I must have fucked something up during the build.
Yeah, no. If anything, I've actually had an accident. Like my heavy arms has fallen over, and I've had to like put them back together.
Oh, I've had that happen to like 4 of my Gundams. I think Vidar has fallen twice. Lupus Rex fell recently. Pretty sure 100 Bale fell during a night once. Luckily, I think, despite I think Gusion Rebake Full City being like my worst like posing Gundam, because like the fucking pliers that it comes with, I love them, but it makes balancing it fucking hell. Despite that, it has never fallen over. It astounds me. What was I talking about before with but I had built Seltsam with like a friend of mine who had never really built any Gunpla before, because he'd got me the kit for Christmas, and I was like, hey, you want to try this out? You seemed interested. And he was like, yeah, I'll cut out the pieces. And love him to bits, but his cut job was not exactly the most precise. But still a good kit. I still kind of look at my Vidar and some of the nub marks that I left on him, and I'm like, memories. I guess detail work with Gunpla is always just something that I'm like, I would love to do it, but I just don't have the attention span for it, and or half the tools. Like some of the stuff, they're like, okay, start with 600 grit sandpaper, move to like 1,000. All right, move to like 1,400, move to like 2,000 polish, and then make sure you coat it with this very specific gel that you can only get in Japanese hobby stores, but only in Akihabara. And I'm like, I'm
out of my depth here.
I bought a Gunpla kit off of Amazon. It came with some clippers that looked used, a glasses towel, and 2 files.
I went into my Target and picked up a RX-78. They had some jewelry pliers, and I'm ready to go.
I'm actually surprised that they sell, at least the one that I saw you at, they were selling like nippers there.
Yeah, they're like
they
I mean,
seem like really cheap and not the
I have
best, but
I literally the nippers that I have are for making jewelry that I bought when I still
you're
worked at
kidding.
Joanne. Yeah, I have two pairs of those, and those have worked like wonders for me.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah,
Um,
I've got
oh,
those. I've got two sets of metallic paint markers, and that's really about it.
yeah, I've got two kits that are just like the standard. Like if you Google like Gunpla building kit, it's like the first result on Amazon. It's like this little plastic box. It works, and it gives you a good variety of starting tools. Like it comes with a pen knife, comes with like two files, one for like sanding, one for polishing, and of course like nippers. But I kind of want to talk about, have you like ever just botched a part of a build like so bad?
Yes.
Oh my god. I'll let you tell yours first.
I would just say the main two. Well, I guess there's been a couple. So let me look at my things. So I accidentally trimmed too much of Magnum's head off, as well as the most recent one that I did, which is the Mark II Titans one.
Oh
Both of
yeah.
those I accidentally trimmed too much of a piece off, and then they worked out fine, but like it definitely wasn't great. What else did I do? I accidentally just snapped the beam saber holder for Magnum in half as well, trying to because I
Ooh.
got it. I think I stuck it in the wrong way. And I was trying to pull it out and I couldn't, and it eventually just snapped. And I'm like, you know what? This kit's already given me enough grief. I'm just done with it. And then let me. I think we accidentally nipped off like a piece of a polycap for Zabanya, but he's been okay since then. And I think that's about it. Most of my kits have gone relatively smoothly. Usually my biggest problem is that I accidentally will drop a piece on my floor, and then
Yeah.
it's like a 5 minute ordeal to find it, and then
Oh, it
just
always is.
yeah.
If I can get like a if I find like a good clip of like one of my streams where I just like I know during like one of my first two builds, I've just like lost pieces and just been like, all right, hold on, I need to find this. So you just see me like scrounging on the floor for like a solid minute. Um, but luckily with my first couple of builds, it went pretty fine. I was very careful, took my time. When I got for Christmas, I got 100 bale and Levitane, which is not a Gundam mobile suit. It's actually from Full Metal Panic. Still a very good build, very unique. But so that day I was building 100 bale, and there's a chin portion for the helmet because it's got a bit of a pointed. It's like blue plastic, very tiny. It's actually probably like the tiniest part on the entire thing, and it basically cracked in like half. And I had to super glue it back together and then try and get it onto the model kit, and it looks really bad. It looks like there's glaze all over Bale's chin, and it
Ugh.
looks really fucked up. And if I was smarter, I would probably go back over it, sand it down, make sure it looks good, but I also don't care as much. But in that same day, I was also like, you know what, fuck it, I want to try and do two builds in one day. And I started building Levitane, which was only a high grade, so it wasn't like too detailed and involved. There were a couple of points where I was just kind of like confused as to how exactly the build wanted me to make it. But overall, I mean, I did pretty well. And then I was making the weapon. And the weapon's like this big fuck off sniper rifle. Maybe you could put up a picture of the Levitane around here, and you can kind of highlight the big fuck off sniper rifle.
Yeah.
The problem is it's a like a submachine gun looking part, and then there's the barrel. I was able to cut out the barrel, assemble it, no problem. I accidentally cut the grip for the gun part, thinking it was the runner joint, and then I realized, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" So I quickly like flushed out the grip point where I had clipped it, and I super glued that again. So I have Levitane holding the rifle constantly, so you can't see that I fucked it up. Because I feel really bad because it was a Christmas gift because my dad knew that I was into Gunpla, And I was like, oh shit, if he knows that I like fucked that up, I feel like he's gonna be like slightly upset. Um, and so like when he's holding it, you can't really see it, but like if you point it out, you can kind of tell that the bottom hand guard doesn't match up.
Yeah.
It's a little fucked up. But I think that's like the worst thing that I've done with a Gundam when assembling it. I've just had the occasional like, oh shit, okay, so I put this in wrong, gotta disassemble it. I
I do that
haven't
all the time.
I haven't had any pieces just like snap on me except for the bail piece. Luckily, I'm really trying to think if I've had like any other things. I know on Seltsum, when you were assembling the backpack for Seltsum, there's like the little like slide in thing. That's like a weird like jet. I can't explain it right now without looking at it, but you've got to like kind of like slide it into a slot, and then you're supposed to plug in like the back of the backpack, and it's supposed to kind of hold everything in place. I could not get that step to like work properly when I was assembling it.
Honestly, I don't think I ever did the backpack part of it. There's two,
Really?
that both the Seltsum and the May are two of the kits where oh, the May I built on my own. Emma did most of the Seltsum. Um, and I think that we got most like the main part of it done, and it's like now do the backpack, and we're like, oh, we're tired, we'll wait. So that's the rest. It's like the parts are still in like my closet because I keep all my boxes and my runners.
Oh
And
yeah.
all that.
Are you getting like a nice mountain of boxes? Because I know I am.
Yes, actually.
I keep all my spare parts, like all the spare hands and like heads or weapons that I don't use, all in like Vidar's box. And so sometimes I'll just like kind of be like, oh, okay, wait, no, is this a Barbatos hand or is this a Levitate hand? I can't tell. Um,
I feel like with a small enough collection, you're fine to do that.
oh yeah,
But when you've got 20 plus kits like I do, I keep everything in the individual box of
oh
the
I
kit
do
it's
not
from.
blame you.
And what's funny is the Age 1 full Glanza that I got a couple months back. That came with so many extra pieces, like to build a regular Age 1.
Oh, that's right. Isn't there like some kits that just like contain like enough pieces to just like make an entirely separate Gundam?
Usually, if it's like a variation of a suit.
Right, because they'll
Like,
they'll still like make the original runners, but they'll include like extra ones if like so like let's say like the pieces on like the original suit are like white, but then they're gonna replace it with like the weird see-through green that they use for like beam sabers and weaponry and stuff like that. Like
basically,
they'll just print an entirely new runner and not replace any of the old runners.
yeah. So, like, I between that, and like a couple other kits, I almost have and also there's just like kits where I have like a ton of polycabs. So I honestly I could probably like Frankenstein together my own mobile suit if I wanted to.
That
But
would be extremely interesting, but I'm also
I really
terrified to do that.
well I want to figure out like more about how like they put them together because obviously someone has to design how
Hmm.
a kit gets put together. But I think it is really cool that like with the amount of pieces that I have, I could try and do like a custom. I know in one of the console games you could like do combinations. Like I might throw up the picture from what one of the guys from that Gundam server. Well, I guess he
Oh
hasn't done it,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
where he did like a combination of the Double O Gundam and the God Gundam,
Oh yeah, I think I remember seeing that.
and it's just like it's a really cool concept, and I would love to try that sometime.
Honestly, yeah, like making custom Gunpla are like really, really interesting to me. And I like how this has turned from like, oh hey, General Gundam to like let's gush about Gunpla, but Gunpla's also just so fucking cool. It's an active
Yeah,
hobby. I think if I was going to do like a custom of like any Gunpla as like a base, I would want the Dantalion. Because that thing,
yeah.
oh, that thing, I want that as like a high grade so bad. Either the like base Dantalion or the like Anchor Arms one. Because
Yeah.
like both are so cool. And a little fun fact about that mobile suit is that it was canonically the last one to be made in Iron Blooded Orphans, whereas Bale was the first.
Neat.
And every Gundam in Iron Blooded Orphans is named after a demon in I think it's the Ars Arcana. I forget what the
I think you're right.
Book of Demons.
If I were to do a custom kit, I would want to do something using the Cublay, just because I love the Cublay so much.
I don't want to know about Book of Demons and isometric hack and slash. That's not what I'm thinking of.
Dad comes in and asks why that's in your search history.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I have a wish list, and at the bottom, I just remembered to put all of the Cublays that I don't have. And then there's just
which are how many?
I don't have the original high grade Cublay. I don't have the master grade Mark II, which is I believe that is the like blackish purple one. I don't have the high grade red. There's the Cublay Damned, which is like white and black, and then there's probably the one that I am the most excited to eventually get is the Cublay Papillon, which is like the one where it's like kind of tealish and has like a lance.
Ooh.
Yeah, no, that I was looking at I was like trying to figure out what Cublay kits were out there just to make sure, and I saw that and I was like, oh my goodness, that is amazing. But
I'm trying to think of the one in the Vist Vist Foundation. I actually know the Vist Foundation from Unicorn. Because Unicorn has a Cublay, which is the mass production type.
Yeah.
Which is a variant of the Mark II.
The Mark II is the Mark II is they have the regular one, and then they like start mass producing it for the new types to use, and then you have like a couple different ones of that. I have not seen Zeta and Double Zeta. Like I haven't really seen much of the original either, but I eventually want to get to those. There's so much to get to right now.
Yeah, there's so much Gundam that it's just difficult.
I'm going through Gundam Wing, and that is how
is that?
That is 00 if viewed through like a crazy funhouse mirror, just because like everything. It's like, oh well, here's these mobile suits. They're basically like indestructible. They're trying to stop a conflict. It's like, okay, that's 00, but it's like, oh, the first hero is he's on a beach and Marina finds him, so he like hits a button on his suit that makes it look like he gets shot, which I assume is just like a diversion. But then he doesn't do anything with that, and instead he runs over and like pushes the two ambulance people that came to help him and steals an ambulance. Then shows up at her school as like a transfer student.
Oh, is that the?
And that's when
if you talk to me again, I'll kill you.
No, it's not even that. He like doesn't interact with her, and then she hands him the birthday invitation. He rips it up in front of her, walks up to her, and just says, "I'll kill you." And then
that's right.
Bum bum.
It's just so.
It is amazing. I showed you the clip of the general that talks like that we were attacked by the mobile suits that were made of Gundanium.
You did. I'm lucky that Iron-Blooded Orphans like actually had like a very good voice casting, especially considering
you're also comparing a dub from like the 2010s to a dub from the 90s.
True.
Like I would probably enjoy, like I think the sub would definitely be like the play in terms of like quality. Yeah. But I think that the dub is the play in terms of quote unquote quality.
Well, it's just like, I mean, you could watch G Gundam subbed, but I feel like it's so beautiful watching it dubbed. What me and a group will do is sometimes we'll just put on random episodes of G Gundam based on like which country we think is going to fight in the episode and which country probably has the most racist Gundam. And it's beautiful because sometimes we'll just play like music over it. Like one time the American Gundam shows up, so we just started playing the NFL theme, just na 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 na. It's
perfect because he's got the football.
It was so good. It was so good.
I thought you were gonna start playing like the Clearwater Revival.
I gotta remember to do that. But we also did like Sins of the Father when Tequila Gundam like rises out of the water.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of just fun, stupid shit that I'll just pull while we're just watching G Gundam, because G Gundam is just so ridiculous. There's a Gundam fight that happens in Niagara Falls.
It's amazing. Like
It is.
what little I have seen of G Gundam, it is amazing, and I really wanted to watch it next, but
It's one of those
there's
things that I know I can't watch it in order or else I'll go insane.
I'll watch it in order so you don't have to.
You'll nostalgia critic it for me.
Yeah.
I hate.
And then I'll when Tequila Gundam shows up for like an episode and gets killed off, I'll do the thing where he like points at the screen while the Bowser Infinite Staircase music plays.
Fucking he shows up, yeah, for like one episode.
And also, for whatever reason, he just like his weapon is like a laser trident.
Yeah, I don't
Which,
understand that.
As we all know, is the symbol of Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that Space Colony New Mexico is just a giant sombrero. It's very, very tasteful.
It's not okay.
It's very tasteful. Very, very tasteful. Gundam G Gundam is a series full of subtlety and respect and nuance. There totally isn't a Pharaoh Gundam that turns into a Mummy Gundam.
Hey, you wanna see the? Let me show you the characters from Turn A that are they are basically like they're like I'm trying to find like a wait, what the heck is the MRC walking dumpling? Oh, that's the armadillos.
Walking dumpling.
Okay, so in Turn A they have like these weird like names for a lot of the mobile suits. Like they will call the Kapul, they'll call that the ball.
Oh, but there's already the ball.
The Wadams they'll call them the scarecrows. Like
what the fuck?
And they'll usually call the Turn A the white mustache or the white doll.
Okay, well I mean that makes sense.
Yeah, but so let me show you these characters. They are basically like the natives of like the quote unquote America. So here's one. These are recurring characters, by the way.
Why do they have these headbands? What is this, the 70s?
They are
what
so basically
I love
Queen
the cowboy
Diana,
boots.
They send them down to the earth to like live there, and then I guess if I remember correctly, for their ancestors were like left there on accident or something.
What in the hell?
So they like worship the moon and the queen, but they're also just like of the earth. But it's like they're recurring characters, and it's just very interesting.
Huh.
Turn A is great, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
It seems very interesting. I can't compete.
Oh yeah, they call the flats the high heels.
What?
And there is literally a point where I've got a they actually have a quote unquote attack where they can like deflect like shots fired at them by T-posing and vibrating really fast.
Oh my god!
I literally cannot make it up. Here's a screenshot of the flat T-posing.
Oh, it's so beautiful, but so fucking weird. I will say, on the topic of like naming mobile suits, I think Xeon has like the best names for mobile suits, because like, you know, with the Earth Federation to get like, oh, the Nemo, the Gun Cannon, Delta Plus, the Aqua, whereas with like Xeon you get like the Zasa, Bawu, Gelgoog, Regulu, Drassi or Drac, Jagdoga. Like you don't get this with like the Earth Federation.
Rick Dom.
Yeah, Rick Dom. I love Rick Dom has got to be my favorite, just because like that's not a mobile suit. That's just a guy's name. That's who you call down at the. That's your coworker. That's the guy that fixes your car at AutoZone.
Come on down to Rick Dom's used cars.
Come on down to Rick Dom's used mobile suits.
It's great. I love them. Speaking of, let's see. We've been recording for almost an hour. Do we want to cut it here and save some for like next time, or do we want to like maybe like one more?
I feel like we could. I feel like one more segment could be good, and then we can kind of finish it out.
I was just gonna bring up that today while I I found a podcast today that is called Mechanista in G, which is a play on Reconquista in G, which is another Gundam series that I really want to watch.
That is the one that has the "I'm a genius." Oh no!
Yeah, they do a podcast where, like, for about an hour or so, they will discuss a very specific mobile suit. Like, oh, here's its design, here's why it's named this, here's what it can do. And they had an episode on. I saw them there mention like, oh, here's this like bug mobile suit, and I was like, I like things that are based on bugs. I don't really like bugs, but I like things that are based on bugs. And I found out that just a bunch of the mobile suits in Victory Gundam, just like they look like bugs. Like there's like one
That's
that kind of
just
looks
so weird to me.
like there's one that looks like a ladybug, one that looks like a stag beetle, one that looks like a. There's literally like a I want to find the. I don't like looking at it. It is the Galguyu. The Galguyu looks like it's a underwater mobile suit that looks like looks like kind of like a fly, like a house fly.
Mm.
And all I know about that is that it is an underwater mobile suit that they did not waterproof sufficiently.
That's so funny to me. I love mobile suits with very unfortunate design flaws. Also, I've been looking at the picture of the flat T-posing. I love the one next to it that's doing the literal virgin walk. It is. It's got the exact posture, too. It's got the slightly forward head posture.
The virgin flat versus the Chad Tournay.
It's just so like I can't stop staring. I know the focal point is the T pose, but I just keep seeing the virgin walk. Oh, I can't unsee it.
It's actually hilarious.
It's like so perfect.
So I'm a huge fan of just like the designs in these, which is one of the reasons why I'm so huge into Pokemon even still to this day is because like I love seeing the new designs that come out of like each generation. So it's kind of similar when I started like a Gundam series and I'm like, oh, that thing looks neat. I'm gonna scroll up so I can't see. It keeps looking at the flat,
the virgin flat. Oh, it's just so.
Instead, I'm gonna look at Muran and Cancer Kafka.
What a good. I think that's a great place to end the first episode. Is the virgin flat.
The virgin flat. I'm gonna try and make like a virgin flat and a Chad.
I hope you do. You'll have to send me it if you do.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll cut it there. Thanks for sticking around at the end. I know it's not easy to sit down for an hour and listen to two idiots talk about giant robots. Wow, cool robot.
Really, wow, cool robot. At the end of the day, wow, cool robot.
Yeah. Don't know how. I don't know how regular.
I'm gonna channel my inner eye patch wolf here. I'm gonna, and that, my friends, is why you should watch Gundam.